Now, what a weekend in store in the SSE Airtricity League Premier League. The game of the weekend at Turner's Cross in Cork. It's Cork City against Dundalk, live on TV. And it's very simple. Cork City really have to win the match or the league championship race is over. In a few minutes' time, we're going to speak to Cork defender Stephen Beattie. But first, very happy to welcome the League of Ireland's top scorer to the podcast on Skype. Patrick Hoban, hello, how are you?
Hiya, not too bad, and yourself?
Great, thanks Pat. Thanks a million for having a chat with me. 24 league goals so far. What's been the key to you hitting the net so much this season?
I don't know. I just think it's all just clicked. I didn't have a good pre-season in me, and then after the Shamrock Rovers game when we drew 0-0, the goals just started going in, and I think confidence has grown as well. And the boys around you as well, they create you a lot of chances. So that's also a help too.
Yeah, you've scored 24, as I mentioned, and I was just having a look this morning about, the previous seasons. Sean Maguire was the top scorer last year, scored 20 in the first half before he, of course, moved to Preston. He was also top scorer in 2016 with 18 goals. Richie Towell got 25 in 2015, and yourself and Christy Fagan both got 20 each back in 2014 as well. I think the highest since it's become the League of Ireland Premier League has been 25 goals scored by Richie in 2015, Glenn Crowe back in 2001 and Jason Byrne in 2004, so you're very, very close to smashing those records.
Yeah, hopefully I can do it. Close as you get closer to it, the expectation gets a bit higher, but all you can do is take each game as it comes, and hopefully I can do it this Friday. Yeah,
you have to be really happy with your own personal form in front of goal, though, when you've come back from the UK as well for your second stint at Dundalk as well. I'm sure you'd hope to hit the net often, but you've really, really been firing.
Yeah, everything, like I just said, everything has just clicked. The last year has been a bit difficult in terms of injuries and stuff like that. So to hit the form I'm hitting, is a good feeling. And, I always thought I had it in me, but it's starting to come out now. So, long may it continue.
Yeah, of course, as a striker as well, every striker often speaks about confidence and being on a roll, and for you that role has just continued week on week. There's been a couple of hat-tricks, and you've just been in a really, really good form, and for you as a striker to have that confidence has to be a massive plus heading into a few big games coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I thought a massive factor this year for me is staying injury free. Like I said there, I had a year there where I was on and off injured, never got anything going, and to not be injured once so far this season, touch wood here, everything is clicking into place, and I've lads creating chances for me, and obviously, like you said, confidence. When you score 2-3 in a game, confidence grows, and that's what it's been like for the whole season so far.
Yeah, and of course as well, the amount of fantastic attacking players around you in the team have been a big help. You've got the likes of Robbie Benson, Michael Duffy, Jamie McGrath, the pace of Dylan Connolly, and then you've got other strikers in Georgie Kelly and Ronan Murray also getting recent goals as well. Stephen Kenny, the manager, has an embarrassment of riches, and the people around you have really been putting a lot of the goals on the plate for you. Yeah, and then
you can say the two fullbacks as well, Gano and Dane Massey and Dean Jarvis. They put a lot of crosses in the box too, and that's why I kind of feed off his crosses into the box. And also with Patrick McElhaney, who's been flying in training, and he could create a bundle of chances for me too. And even John Mountney, these boys are kind of going under the radar because they haven't really been involved lately. But John Mountney's come back and he's flying as well. So there's a lot of creativity there for me, and I'm grateful that I'm getting the quality into the box for me to score some goals.
How I managed to list off the number of Dundalk attacking options and not mention Patrick McElhaney, I'm not quite sure. So if he's watching or listening to the podcast, Patrick Hoban, I'm going to be in his bad books because I've listed them all off and I somehow forgot him, so I'm very sorry.
Don't worry, I haven't. It's fine.
Very good, very good. But on a serious note, in training, the crossing and finishing exercises, the small-sided games, the standard must be unbelievably good with the players I've just mentioned.
Yeah, it's incredibly high, and I think everyone is getting better as the season goes along, and we are. I feel in the last couple of weeks we've gone a lot better as a team, and that is standing to us in games, and especially even the 1-0 win against Limerick there a couple of weeks ago. We weren't playing well, but we still had enough to go and win a game like that when they were sitting so deep and making it so difficult for us. So it's good to have a lot of quality, and it's definitely shown.
Yeah, I'm sure the goalkeepers in training are kept busy in those exercises that Vinny Perth and the coaching staff will put on. And we spoke earlier about the confidence you get from, scoring goals in matches. But I'm sure as well there has to be internal competition in training and stuff with all those exercises you do with the players I've mentioned.
Yeah, there's loads of competition. There's for places. If it's not the keepers, it's the fullbacks, the centre halves. There's loads of competition there. We've Dan Cleary, Stevie Folan, Brian Gartland and Sean Hoare competing for centre half positions, and I think any team in the league would have any of them in a heartbeat, and that just shows the kind of strength we have in our squad, and I think it's healthy competition. Really builds winning teams, and at the moment we've won a lot of games, and hopefully we can have a trophy to celebrate at the end of it.
Yeah, now of course you won the league with Dundalk in 2014 before you moved to the UK. You beat Cork on the last day of the season in Oriel Park to win the league. You probably can't get more dramatic than that. You've then been able to watch the rivalry unfold over the last couple of years in the UK, and you're now back involved in it. What's your memories of that day in 2014 and that league win?
My memories, I think everyone inside the camp was nice and calm for the game. We fully believed we could win the game. I remember being in the dressing room just like at about 6 o'clock, whatever time it was, and just everyone was so calm, everyone laughing and joking, and even the gaffer, nice and calm the way he was talking to us, and we just felt we can go out and win it. And that's what we did. I felt that season we were definitely the best team in the league that year, so we definitely deserved it. But the way it happened was quite dramatic, and something you'd never forget, really. Yeah,
and then you moved across to the UK, and Dundalk won the league again in 2015 and 2016. Cork City won it last year and won the cup, beating Dundalk in the previous two finals. What was your thoughts and views on watching the rivalry unfold over the last couple of years when you were away from it?
I think so. Since 2014, there's definitely been a spicy rivalry there between the two sides, which I think is good for the league. I think it's just good. Everyone wants to be winners. Everyone wants to win something at the end of the day. And I think when you have two teams that are clashing and going for the same goal, there's always a lot of spiciness there, and a lot of things said. But I think it's just good for the league when you have two teams. A bit like Arsenal and Man United a good few years ago now, where they had that rivalry, and it's always a good game. They're always close games. I think it's just good for the league, to be honest.
Yeah, you mentioned the word spice there a couple of times, Patrick. Where does that come from in these games? Because for me as a neutral watching, it's so brilliant. I don't think the managers like each other too much. I don't think the players like each other too much. There is a respect on the pitch, but the games at times have been quite hot, and I think spice is a good word to describe it.
Yeah, I think when I obviously left after the 2014 season, I think it heated up massively. I think there was a couple of things said. I'm not fully sure, and obviously looking from the outside, looking in, and watching the games, there was always like an extra spice, and I think it's just got the more attractive as it's gone along in the last few years, and it's there's always something between the two sides, and I just think it's good, healthy competition.
What are the matches like to play in, and does the fact that this current game coming up on Friday is in Turner's Cross as opposed to Oriel make a difference? Because as we mentioned, in terms of crowds, there's no bigger crowds than these matches this season. What are they like to be involved in and actually playing in them?
Well, I think in the last 2 years there is a difference between playing in Oriel and Turner's Cross, because in the last 2 years, we haven't won there, so we first and foremost we'd be looking to put that right this Friday. So that there is definitely a different feel to the games when you're at home and when you're away, but. It's just the two teams. Like, there's so much on the line. I think that's what makes it really spicy as well. It's just there's a lot on the line. The games between ourselves could determine whether you win or lose a league. So that's why they're always so competitive, and that's why I think everyone always tunes into the game when it's Cork and Dundalk, because they always know that there's it's going to be a good good game of football, and everyone putting their heart on the line to try and win a game.
Yeah, it should be unbelievable on Friday as well. And I was in the UCD Bowl last Friday, Patrick, watching UCD against Finn Harps in the league, and there was a couple of Dundalk players there, and they were watching their live score, and I could see from their reaction that they couldn't believe what was going on in Dalymount Park, that Cork were 1-0 down, they were 2-0 down, they were 3-0 down, they ended up losing 4-2. The previous league game, Cork lost to Sligo. Have you been surprised that they've dropped such points in the last couple of weeks as well, which really means that the title race is firmly in the hands of Dundalk now?
We played Sligo. I know it was away from home there a good few weeks ago, and they gave us a hard game, and I know we came out winning 2-0, but it was quite a hard game, and we knew Sligo would probably go there and make it really difficult, but I never thought they'd, to be honest, drop points at home, and they did. So all we can really do is concentrate on ourselves and what we do. I know that's a cliche now, but that's all we can do is focus on ourselves and pick up 3 points every time we play a game of football. And it was quite surprising seeing the manner of how Cork lost the other night to Bows, but it just shows in this league that nothing's ever a given, and you always have to be on top of your game every time you go out on the pitch. And maybe Cork were a couple percent behind their best, and that's why they probably lost the game. Yeah,
and I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, Patrick, the league table, you're 6 points ahead of Cork. You've played a game less, so if you can win on Friday, you'd be 9 cleared. They'd only have 4 matches left, which effectively would mean if you were to win your next match, because your goal difference is so much better, you couldn't be caught. But if they win, it becomes 3 points, and it's closer, of course. So if you can win, it's huge. If they win, it just gives them a glimmer of hope. But I'm sure you'd be very happy to go to Turner's Cross in your position, 6 ahead. Even if you lose the match, it's not a total disaster because you have a game in hand and still a plus 3 points on them. Yeah,
but I still think could be quite a psychological battle as well in terms of that. In that sense, if you lost the game, Cork would be thinking, beat us and we're only 3 points behind them, and we have a tough run in too. We've St. Pat's, Derry, Waterford away, Bows away. So there's a lot of tough games there. So like I said, nothing's a given in football, and Cork probably realised that there against Bows last week. So we won't be taking anything for granted coming into this game. We full know that Cork will be right up for it, and it's going to be a tough battle, and we will be going there to try and win 3 points, but it's not going to be easy. And you can say it is kind of firmly in our hands, but you're in the business end of the season, and every 3 points count, and hopefully we can just do that on Friday to make it a bit easier on ourselves on the run-in. Yeah, and of course the manager Stephen Kenny has played a key role, of course, in Dundalk in recent seasons, Patrick, but he's also played a key role in your career. You were, of course, the joint top scorer in the league in the season you won the league in 2014. You then moved to the UK and you spent time at Oxford, Stevenage, Grimsby Town and Mansfield before coming back. Just explain to me the influence he has had on your career, and even since you've been back in Ireland, since your time with the UK, you're lashing the goals in, you're top of the league, you're doing really well, and he's been a man by your side through that. Yeah, I just think he's full belief in my ability and is just full confidence in me. And when a manager is like that towards you, you're just going to be confident every time you go out on the pitch. And also, like in the UK, if you're playing well and not scoring, and you don't score in like 3 or 4 games, you're going to find yourself out of the team. And with Stephen, it was kind of different for me. He was not really putting any pressure on me to score goals. He was kind of letting that just happen. He was kind of just focusing, making sure I was playing well. And, that's a massive factor when the manager is kind of giving you full belief in your ability and backing you 100% right behind you. That's always a massive factor. Yeah, Patrick, just finally, in terms of scoring goals, this time last year or earlier in the year when Sean Maguire was scoring all the goals, and I think he's got a hat-trick against Dundalk in his last game, the calls, including from me, where he should be in the Ireland squad, and eventually he was called up. I know your name was mentioned recently as well in terms of that 24 goals this season. Martin O'Neill has been to games. That has to be an ambition of yours, but do you feel you can get called up to the Ireland squad playing in the league here? I feel like if I just keep going the way I'm going and hopefully a couple more goals and just keep concentrating on doing what I'm doing and, hopefully win a league with Dundalk and hopefully win a cup as well and, see where that takes me. it'll be obviously a dream to play for your country. Any player in Ireland would love to play for their country, and I'm no different. So hopefully, if I keep doing what I'm doing, hopefully I will be in the squad. But just have to concentrate on myself and just hopefully get the call up.
Patrick Hoban, great stuff. Thanks a million. By the way, you need to give Sean Gannon a slap because he told me to ask you about having the biggest arse in the league, but I didn't want to ask that question. He compared you to, was it J-Lo or who was the one with the big arse at the moment?
They call me Beyonce in Irish football.
And are you happy with that title? Because the arse does lead to some defenders being smashed away every now and again.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. As long as it gets me a yard or two in the pitch, it's fine.
Patrick Hoban, thanks a million. Best of luck on Friday.
Cheers very much. Bye-bye.